Welcome to the Dollars and Cents podcast, and today we are talking about a topic that many of us has probably wondered before, and that is how much do property agents in Singapore really earn? We see them drive flashy cars, have luxury watches, as well as flashy social media posts when they seem to enjoy a very good lifestyle. But does the job really pay that well? And is there more to it behind the scenes? And joining me for today's discussion is Kaivan, a property agent with about 10 years of working experience, helping clients buy, sell, rent, and lease out their homes. Kaivan, welcome to the show.
Hello everyone, I'm Kaivan. Thanks for having me on this podcast.
Just to go into the first thing that I think most people will probably wonder is, the commission that you make. I just want to ask you, right, like typically when it comes to commission that agents charge, would there be difference between, say, private property and HDB flats?
There will be differences. I think the market generally understands, and I'm referring to the consumers, that, there's a rough guide that, sellers are paying about 2%, whether it's a private property or a HDB flat. That is generally what consumers view. In reality, most of the time, usually negotiable. Sometimes if the agent is able to offer value-added services, for example, maybe shooting a beautiful video of the unit, the agent may even try to, negotiate for above the market rate of 2%. So for example, they might ask for 2.5% or even 2.3%. Then maybe after negotiating, they end up with maybe 2.2%. So still higher than the usual 2%, but they are providing value-added services.
If the seller is a developer, so I'm obviously referring to new launch projects that, get humongous marketing budget, not just in terms of agents, but, you see all the ads and you see all the content put out there. Are developers in a position where they are able to provide a better sales commission to the agents?
I mean, if they know their projects are in a sought after location, in the East Coast or even places like Serangoon, then we have places even like Lentor, where some consumers are not even aware, but in the sought after area, then sometimes they are able to charge or rather pay agent below the 2%. But agents are going to just still do the deals. But the buyers will be asking the agents about this project. So, and that's why they are confident. And these rates will range between 1.6 to 1.8%.
So might be even lower than 2%.
Yes.
And vice versa, right? So if a project is maybe a boutique project, which maybe not as much noise in the media, and the developer is maybe less confident that they can move units so easily, then they might want to give a higher commission as well.
Yes, we could see as high as 10%.
I see all the very expensive properties, right? Do they typically allow the agents to get a higher commission if you sell, say, a luxury property that's maybe $10 million or more? Or is the percentage lower?
It depends on the confidence of the seller, but the sellers themselves also know that, properties that are priced a certain level, 10 million and above, number of people in the entire country, how many of them can afford? So they do know that sometimes they really do have to pay a bit higher to get the agent to network thoroughly with the people they know, qualified buyers that they may have on hand. And all this networking has costs, right? You got to host your buyers, you got to meet them somewhere and bring them somewhere nice, and probably talk about your seller's property.
The Council for Estate Agency, CEA, they reported a record high of 36,058 people as registered property agents in Singapore as of 1st January 2025. Is that one of the reasons you see happening in the industry, where as property prices goes up, the overall gross commission also goes up, and hence it attracts more people into the industry?
Well, many of us who are in this industry for a long while would easily agree with you, because the property prices in general don't rise just, in 10, 30,000 range, but six figures. Since early 2021, prices have gone up so much, and so does our commission fees. We do see quite a marked increase from the same type of property that we sell. People are on their phones more, and then many are making reels and posts on Instagrams and other social media platforms. Our industry is now more and more exposed to many segments of the society. So we see many young graduates from our local universities having agency work, property agency work as their first job.
$1 million condo 5 years ago would earn, let's say, 2% commission, right? The agents will have gotten about 20,000 in terms of gross commission.
Gross commission, right?
Right. And then today, the same unit, if it sells for 1.5 million,
Exactly.
you get 30,000.
1.5 now, yes.
Yeah, right. So you get 30,000. So
Yes.
in some sense, moving the same unit earns you 50% more because property prices have gone up. If the property prices have gone up about
Correct,
50%.
correct.
Right.
And in
it's the
many
same for
instances, lesser effort as well.
lesser effort. So because in a bull market, I guess people are
correct.
they want to buy the property,
Yeah,
right?
just a number of viewings is done.
Yeah. That said, I just want to also not just talk about the glamorous side of things, which is the commission and all those things, because people will always say, wow, property agent, I sell my condo for 1 million. The commission I pay my agent is 20,000. He earns so much, 20,000 by just, helping me sell a $1 million condo. But I just want to debunk a little bit of this misconception, which is that the commission you pay your agent isn't necessarily what the agent is earning.
Certainly.
Right? So
we
it
have a
does-
lot of cost to it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's just talk about, firstly, I think there's this thing called agency costs.
Okay, so it depends on your experience and seniority within the property agency. So for starters, you just joined the industry recently with a estate agency. So it varies from agency to agency. Sometimes they let you to keep 80% of your
80%.
earnings.
So you pay 20% to your agency.
Correct. I'm not sure whether it's still around, but some agencies do practice allowing you to keep 70 only.
But you were saying that as you become more senior, the percentage will
you
go
rise
down.
the rank, yes.
Okay, so how low can it be? 10%?
Yes, at least what I heard. The max is 10%.
Okay. So is there a sales volume also? So like if I sell more, can I pay lesser? Does it work that way? Or
Sell more and pay lesser, no.
Okay.
So the deduction is per transaction.
okay. And then the next thing is, of course, your own expenses as a business expense. IRAS have this thing called a fixed expense deduction ratio, FEDR, which allows some self-employed people, including property and insurance agent, to deduct a fixed 25% of their income as expenses. But do note, this only applies to income under 50,000 per annum. I thought it was interesting that IRAS also themselves prescribe 25% as the expense that they are able to accept that you probably
The threshold.
incur this as an agent,
Yes,
right?
yes.
25%, is that an easy way to think about it?
I think it's rather fair.
Okay.
Because we not only have expenses when we are working on the deal. So working on a deal would mean marketing the house for sale,
So
or if you are
that could
working
be
a
on
buyer.
your property guru.
And other platforms. Some maybe even shoot their videos, even have paid ads on other social media platforms, which could be rather expensive nowadays. So besides that, we also have the acquisition cost,
Okay.
right? Because before we don't depend just on warm leads, because it's dangerous to depend on it. They run out quite quickly.
Warm leads will be things like maybe referrals from friends,
yeah.
right?
Exactly. Relatives, your cousin, close friends, And that is why many of us agents, if we aspire to reach a certain level, we always try to have platforms that allow us to acquire cold leads.
right.
And that's right. So cold leads, they do come with quite a number of costs, right? If you are getting cold leads through certain platforms, can be very expensive, like Google ads, it could be on Facebook ads,
Okay.
it could be your flyers, and some maybe cost free of charge, like door knocking, but very tiring,
Yep.
right? Lots of effort and lots of time. So maybe that's how we factor our costs as well, in terms of not just monetary costs, but also in the effort cost.
Kaivan also helped me and my family with some transaction, and you pass us
Thanks for the privilege.
But I think you also make it a point to, I think once a year you come, with some Chinese New Year goodies or
Exactly.
cakes,
Yeah.
and all these things are important as well, I think, in order to constantly, make sure that, you engage your client, right? I
Yeah,
would say.
it's a chance for us to express our thanks, but at the same time, there's always a cost to it's a business setting,
For
right?
sure.
So there's a cost to maintain such relationships.
So let's say agent sells a property for 1 million, gets 2% commission, that's 20,000. And then maybe he rents out a unit for $4,000 a month for 2-year contract. So he gets about $4,000. So altogether he gets 24,000 gross commission from selling and renting the property. But if we assume he needs to pay 20% to the agency, that's $4,800
Yes,
in terms of the
it's
cost.
a lot of money.
Okay, and then let's just assume we use the IRA's FEDR number of 25%
That's
as
a good
business
guide.
expenses. So 25% of the $19,200 gross income, that will be about $4,800, and that means his net earning from a $24,000 gross commission will be $14,400. So for those of you who are watching this, do note a $24,000 commission, gross income could, or rather net income might be around $14,400. I think a lot of people don't neglect the fact that you don't get CPF contribution as well. I'm talking about your employer. CPF contribution,
That's
which
right.
is typically about 17% of gross salary.
That's right.
So for example, if someone's salary is about $8,000 a month, but actually it's $9,360 because my employer also contributes a 17%
That's
to my
correct.
CPF,
That's
which
correct.
is something that as an agent, you don't get.
I don't get to enjoy.
So if you actually earn $9,360 a month as an agent,
As an agent,
it's
yes.
actually the equivalent of somebody who is an employee earning $8,000.
That's right.
The other thing, of course, is the stability of income.
That's right.
Right? So every month, it surely will fluctuate. How
Correct.
do you manage your finances given that you have a job where your monthly income isn't always the same?
I think just like any other business, whether you're established or, in there for some years or you just started out. So regardless of what kind of business, there's always ups and downs. Certain months you're doing better. Some months you're doing extraordinarily well. Some even depends on seasonality. And how I personally overcome this problem is by be careful with what we are spending on. And on top of that, we try to invest when we can, right? We try to save whatever we can. So now, since around 2021, or maybe even before COVID, I'm more focused on the idea of growing the earning power instead of focusing too much on the saving side. So now I'm focusing more on the earning ability plus the amount I could invest. Because then I won't lose sleep over inconsistent months of revenue.
Is it prudent to actually take a longer term view? Some months might be higher or lower.
Okay.
But let's say I know I get $100,000 in terms of net income, and then just to then from there budget it on a monthly basis because your bills is every month, right?
That's right.
Is that a logical strategy?
So I think it's very important as a self-employed or a business owner to keep track exactly what are the kind of fixed costs you have, costs that won't
Go away.
won't go
each
away, like your housing installment, your kids' school fees, or some of you if you have helper, their salary and all that. So keep track of those because those are the fees, the costs that you can't run away from, and from there you know that if you already can to some accuracy predict how much you're gonna earn for the year, then you know that there is always a specific, a rough amount where you could spend it on something, that you can enjoy. Yeah, or rather disposable income.
Yep.
Yeah. So usually that's how I work it out. So I already know all my fixed costs. So anything above, after saving and investment, of course, then I know that is the rough amount where, I can do some
More
nice things.
discretionary income. You really
Correct.
need to be able to budget very well as a self-employed person because no one is going to do that for you, right?
I would say discipline is more important because when your so-called salary comes in, usually quite a big amount, it's more or less, but because you are in the industry for a while already and you also engage in a lot of cold lead acquisition campaigns, you kind of roughly know how much to a good degree of confidence that you will earn a certain X amount for this month. And that's where it's actually rather dangerous because sometimes you really, if you're not disciplined, it's really easy to fall into the trap.
When you close a deal, right, you don't necessarily get paid immediately, right?
I waited for one that I'll get paid like more than a year. Deal is completed, but the payment of the commission by the developer,
Is it because they don't pay it out immediately or it's in
they
tranches?
don't pay out immediately.
Okay,
And
what's the reason?
very likely they pay out in tranches.
Okay, because
Yes.
they haven't received the full amount yet also.
Probably that's the case.
I mean, just saying from a cash flow point of view,
Yes.
it's not like every month, on a certain date, you get your salary from your employer.
Exactly. Many of us, if we are not careful, we are spending money that we haven't received, even though you have closed.
Yeah.
But what if the deal bursts in the end?
Yeah. I read this morning, Hardy Marissa, one of the Singapore Idol, winners, also has just recently become a property agent. And he also joins, I think, previously Taufik Batisa also is a property agent as well.
Yes.
Right? So
yes, that's right. He's in this for a number of years already.
Yes. And I think he's doing quite well. I mean, I seen his Instagram and he looks like he's been here for a while and doing well. How easy or how difficult it is to transit to becoming a property agent, especially when you're already mid-career?
Since I've been a number of years in the industry, we see people come and go, but what really stands out for me is that it's more like a business of relationships. In a business of relationships instead of the property itself, because people tend to buy the agent first, then buy the property.
Okay.
So if you are rather well known, I think half of the battle maybe
is won.
Yeah, is won. And the other half would be to show your expertise.
Yeah.
I'm also not trying to say that it's going to be very easy for them. Sure. Because consumers are also savvy, right? Very different from the yesteryears. So we saw the news that Hadi Mirza has signed up as an agent. In the minds of the consumers is that, he's a new agent.
Yeah.
What does he know?
Yeah.
Right. So
that's
probably
true.
People will still link up with him and test him out, interview him. And see what he has to say. But at the same time, they probably will speak to another 2 or 3 agents.
That's true.
So yeah, these people are popular, but they still got a lot of work to do ahead.
Does it make sense, I'm just wondering, to kind of like do it on a part-time basis first, especially if you are already somewhat in your mid-career?
Well, in my view, it does make sense. Because just to share a bit about myself, I actually started in this real estate business as a part-time agent.
Oh, so when was that?
That was in 2011 while I was still as a first-year university student.
Okay, so you got your license in 2011.
Yes.
And then you were still studying.
Yes.
And you were doing this as a part-time.
As a part-time during school breaks and holidays, I would be doing real estate work.
What was it okay? Like, could you sell something?
Very tough because this problem might be less so for a middle-aged person.
Okay.
But because at 2011, I was roughly mid-20s, yes.
Okay.
So many people are just doubting whether even I have a license to work on the deal that they have.
Sure. I mean, understandable because you were young and you're still
That's one major hurdle to overcome. And number 2 is that, most of my friends are not at the age of buying or selling a home yet.
Okay, so you're selling to someone who is older, right? Basically.
Way older than me.
Way older.
Right? I was very lucky. I had the opportunity to serve some of my friends' parents' places.
Okay, that's a good start, I guess.
Mostly rental, but maybe they don't quite trust me on the sale yet.
Okay.
But they trusted me with their properties that are, looking for a tenant. And then that's where they tested me. They gave me something to work on.
Okay.
And thankfully, right, so many of these relations I've held on for a number of years. We started as rental deals. And later on, many of them transited into sale because they felt that, through many rounds of rentals I've done for them, they felt that I was a detailed and a responsible agent. I think obviously they could also tell that my more knowledge is a lot better.
Yeah.
And that's where they gave me the chance to sell their home.
At what point do you know that you were going to do it full-time?
After I graduated from university, I worked full-time somewhere because, or rather my mother especially, she said like, perhaps work somewhere first. Put your university degree to some use. It wasn't easy to get through to where you are. And so I thought, instead of disappointing my parents, okay, I will look for a job, full-time job. Yeah, I was happy there because back then in 2014 when I graduated, my first drawn pay was above average at that time.
Okay.
So I was happily working there. And then I was doing real estate work part-time on the weekends, sometimes on weekday nights.
Okay.
So rather tiring because I not only have to fulfill my full-time work, I also have to entertain clients in my real estate work. Yeah. Yes.
So, but then because of that, your real estate business grew over time. And then it must have reached a point where you realize, hey, actually, I can do it full time.
Yes, I managed to learn the ropes and everything, and income on my part-time real estate work actually grew. But to be honest, I mean, it's not growing to a speed where I feel very comfortable to just switch full-time. But in reality, it was something else that pushed me to become a full-time agent is that when I got married, I haven't turned 26 and my wife then was about 22 years old.
And so you wanted to earn more.
No, I realized that she's not looking for a job.
Okay.
I was left with no choice. It was such an easy decision because I was put in a spot, a very tight spot. And I knew at that time, while my full-time pay at the time was all right, above average, but it can never be enough to help us buy a home.
I guess that's the thing, right? Like if you are in a sales commission-based role, then your earning potential is a lot.
Sky is the limit.
Sky's the limit,
Yes.
right? Because as long as you can close a lot of deals, you can earn a lot. So that's where you transited to full-time.
Yeah, that's how it led me to a full-time property agent.
So part-time is possible also, but of course a lot more tiring.
A lot more tiring, yes.
Do you have anything to advise anyone who is watching this? Can you give them an advice that will make them think harder before they take the leap?
It's a very rewarding career, and that is where I am now, and I'm here for over the 10 years. And I never regretted this decision. If you're joining as a fresh graduate or you just finished school, you're still rather young without serious family and financial commitments, I think it's great to join full-time.
Okay.
Fail fast.
Fail fast.
But that's the hard truth.
Okay.
But fail fast because we don't want to waste our time in that industry and getting nowhere. And if you do well, build on it, because not only is rewarding, but the network that you're going to build, the people you know, clients from different parts of the society that you will get to meet, it's a huge privilege. So I'm in my 30s. I'm learning a lot from people who are way more senior than me.
For sure.
Yeah, and many times, we don't just meet up and talk about work or their properties. Many times we just meet for casual meetings and catch up over a meal, or to visit them because their grandson has a birthday or some important event, and sometimes they share some life lessons to you.
Yeah.
And those clients who are running business, they also share the challenges. Yeah, so that really opened my mind to a lot of things. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Not just in real estate.
How about advice for anyone who is mid-career?
Exactly. So mid-career, I would highly recommend that you do part-time first.
Okay,
Hopefully
part-time.
your full-time job allows, because I know some of you may face challenges, right? They may get you to declare. Put one foot into the river first instead of two.
And thank you so much, Kaivan, for sharing with us your experience.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure to be on this podcast.
On how is it like to be a property agent in Singapore. And of course, if you guys are watching this, feel free to let us know what you think, in terms of how much a property agent make in Singapore. Share with us your comments, your thoughts, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you again.